No one knew the truth. This janitor had once been a fighter. And when he finally stepped into the cage again, one single punch changed everything. This is the story of Marcus Reed, the man they laughed at, until he taught them respect. Every story begins with a voice. Make sure you're here to hear them all. Subscribe now! The gym was almost empty. Sweat and disinfectant mixed in the air as the sound of gloves hitting punching. Bags echoed in the background. It was 10 p.m., and while everyone was getting ready to go home, Marcus Reed was just starting his shift. Marcus was in his late 30s, a tall black man with strong shoulders and calm eyes. His dark blue janitor uniform was clean, though his hands showed the roughness of years of hard work. Every night he swept, mopped and polished the MMA gym floor in silence while fighters packed up their bags and left. The young trainees often ignored him. Some nodded politely, others cracked jokes behind his back. Marcus never reacted. He had learned long ago that staying quiet was better than fighting. Words that meant nothing. At the far end of the gym, Coach Tyler was finishing his last training session. He was a former amateur fighter, now in his early 40s, known for his arrogance more than his skill. Tyler liked to show off. He wore designer tracksuits, spoke loud, and always made sure everyone noticed him. When Marcus walked by carrying a mop bucket, Tyler's voice rose. "Hey Marcus, be careful with that water. We wouldn't want the real athletes slipping," he said with a smirk. A few of the young fighters laughed. Marcus didn't look up. He kept cleaning the mat. Tyler wasn't done. "You know, maybe you should take some classes, Marcus. Who knows? You might actually learn how to fight instead of clean." The laughter grew louder. Marcus paused for a moment. He looked up and met Tyler's eyes. There was no anger in his expression, only calm. "Just doing my job, coach," he said simply. Tyler chuckled. "Yeah, I can see that." Marcus finished wiping down the equipment, picked up his bucket and walked toward the back storage room. Inside, the noise from the gym faded. He placed the mop aside, sat on a small wooden stool, and took a deep breath. For a brief moment, he closed his eyes. His mind drifted back to a different time. A time when he wasn't cleaning gyms, but standing inside them with gloves on. Back when people called him something else, not janitor, but fighter. A knock on the door snapped him out of the memory. It was another cleaner, an older man named Ricky. "Man, don't let that fool get to you," Ricky said. "He talks too much." Marcus smiled faintly. "Yeah, he's just noise." But deep inside, Marcus felt something stirring. It wasn't anger. It was something colder, quieter. The feeling of being underestimated once again. As he finished his shift, he looked one last time at the gym floor, the place where men trained to fight. The same kind of place he once ruled before life took a turn he never planned for. He whispered to himself, "Maybe it's time they remember who I was." He turned off the lights and walked out into the night. Morning sunlight slipped through the small apartment blinds as Marcus laced up his worn-out sneakers. The room was simple. A bed, a small table, a few pictures on the wall. One of them showed a young version of himself standing inside a cage, his arm raised in victory, sweat and blood mixing on his face. That picture was taken almost 15 years ago, back when the world looked different to him. Marcus Reed once had a dream, to be a professional MMA fighter. In his 20s, he was known for his discipline, quiet focus, and raw strength. He trained at a local gym under Coach Daniel, a man who treated every fighter like family. Marcus fought his way through underground circuits, often winning with his powerful grappling and clean strikes. People respected him not just for his fighting, but for his humility. He used to say, "A real fighter doesn't talk loud. He lets his fists do the talking." Then came the night that changed everything. It was a regional championship fight. Marcus against a young, fast striker named Troy Lightning Benson. The crowd roared as they entered the cage. The first round went well. Marcus landed heavy hits, controlling the pace. But in the second round, a mistimed takedown led to disaster. Marcus's knee twisted badly, and the pop echoed louder than the audience's gasp. He tried to stand, but pain shot through his leg like fire. The referee stopped the fight. The doctors said the ligament damage was serious. Surgery was possible, but recovery would take years and sponsors disappeared. Coach Daniel tried to help, but without fights, there was no money. Marcus lost his apartment, then his car, and soon his confidence. Fighting had been his identity. Without it, he became just another man struggling to survive. He started doing small jobs, delivery, warehouse work, security. Then he found the janitor position at Ironclad, MMA gym. The irony wasn't lost on him. He cleaned the same kind of mats he once fought on. As he sat at his small breakfast table, Marcus rubbed his knee unconsciously. It still hurt on cold mornings, but lately something inside him had started to burn again. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was seeing how people like Tyler treated others. Whatever it was growing stronger. He looked at the photo again and whispered, "That fighter's still in there, just waiting." The next evening, the gym was crowded. Fighters were training hard for an upcoming city tournament, and Coach Tyler was in his element. He strutted between the bags, shouting instructions, throwing playful jabs at the air. Marcus entered quietly, carrying his mop and bucket. He began cleaning near the ring as the fighters practiced. Tyler noticed him and grinned. "Hey, Marcus, you missed a spot yesterday," Tyler called out. "Maybe you should train those arms. Might make your cleaning faster." A few people laughed again. Marcus kept working. Tyler leaned on the ropes and smirked. "You know, you got the size for a fighter. Too bad you wasted it pushing mops." This time, Marcus stopped. He looked up slowly. "Maybe size doesn't make a fighter, coach." "Oh yeah? What does then?" Tyler shot back. Marcus met his eyes, heart. The gym went quiet for a second. Tyler chuckled and turned to his students. "You hear that, boys? The janitor's giving lessons now." Everyone laughed again, but one of the younger trainees, Jordan, looked uncomfortable. He had always respected Marcus, seeing how the man carried himself, calm, patient, never rude. Later, while Marcus was wiping the mirrors, Jordan came over. "Hey man, don't listen to Coach, he likes to show off." Marcus gave a small smile. "It's all right, kid. He's got his way of teaching." "You ever fight before?" Jordan asked, curiosity in his voice. Marcus looked at his reflection in the mirror for a long moment. "A long time ago." Jordan raised an eyebrow. "You serious?" Marcus nodded once. "Yeah, but that was another life." Jordan grinned. "Well, if you ever feel like showing Coach what heart really means, I'd pay to see that." Marcus laughed softly and went back to work, but the idea lingered. That night, after everyone left, Marcus stayed behind. He stood in the middle of the empty gym, the air heavy and still. Slowly, he walked toward the punching bag. His hands trembled slightly as he wrapped them with old cloth strips he found in a box. He threw one punch, slow, controlled, then another. His body remembered. The rhythm returned like a song he hadn't heard in years. Left, right, hook, breathe, step back. Sweat dripped from his forehead. His knee ached, but he kept going. He wasn't training for a fight yet. He was training to wake something that had been asleep for far too long. As he left the gym, he glanced back at the ring under the dim lights. "Let's see if you still got it, old man," he muttered to himself. The next few nights, Marcus stayed late after his janitor shift ended. He waited until the last fighter left, then locked the gym doors from inside. The hum of the fluorescent lights echoed in the silence. He moved to the ring slowly, stretching his stiff muscles. His body was older now, his knee still carried the ghost of pain, but his mind was sharp, and his technique never truly left him. He began with shadow boxing, moving lightly across the mat. His steps were careful at first, but then rhythm found him again, the air filled with the soft thuds of controlled punches. His reflection in the gym mirror looked different, stronger, focused, alive. He wrapped his hands tighter and started hitting the heavy bag. Each strike sounded like a drum beat in the empty gym. Sweat dripped down his face, his arms flexed with effort. Left hook, step, elbow, slip. He spoke under his breath, retraining his body, testing the limits of the knee that had once ended his dream. The pain came and went, but he pushed through. Every punch felt like reclaiming a piece of himself. In between rounds, he practiced grappling techniques with a dummy. He still remembered every lock, every choke. His moves were slower but sharper, deliberate, efficient, deadly. By the end of the week, he had regained control. His body responded like an old friend, tired but loyal. One night, while Marcus was finishing his session, Jordan accidentally walked in. The kid had forgotten his water bottle and froze when he saw Marcus landing precise punches on the bag. "Whoa! I didn't know you could move like that," Jordan said, amazed. Marcus stopped, breathing hard. "You weren't supposed to see that." "Man, you're good," Jordan said, stepping closer. "You're better than half the guys here." Marcus smiled faintly. "Used to be better. Now I'm just trying to remember." Jordan hesitated, then said, "You should fight Coach Tyler. For real. He's been talking about sparring with someone from staff for fun." Marcus shook his head. "I'm not here to prove anything." Jordan shrugged. "You already did, just now." Marcus didn't respond. But as Jordan left, his words echoed in Marcus's mind. Fight Coach Tyler. That idea shouldn't have mattered, but somehow it did. That night, Marcus looked at his reflection one last time. The man staring back wasn't just a janitor anymore. He was something else, something he hadn't been in years. It was Friday evening, and the gym buzzed with excitement. Coach Tyler had announced an open sparring session for the fighters, promising a prize for the best performer. The crowd of trainees and gym members gathered around the ring. Marcus was mopping the corner, quietly doing his job as the energy in the room built up. Tyler clapped his hands and shouted, "All right, who's got the guts to step up? Let's see what you've got." Fighters rotated in and out, testing themselves against the coach. Tyler handled them easily, laughing, taunting, showing off his dominance. Every time he landed a strike, he looked around to make sure people were watching. After a few rounds, Jordan stepped forward. "Coach, I've got someone who might give you a real challenge." Tyler raised an eyebrow. "Oh yeah? Who's that?" Jordan looked toward the corner where Marcus was standing. "Him." The room went silent. Tyler smirked, shaking his head. "The janitor? Come on, kid. This is a gym, not a comedy show." But the crowd had already turned toward Marcus. Whispers filled the room. Some laughed, others looked curious. Marcus paused. He didn't want attention, but something about Tyler's tone, the same arrogance he'd endured for months, hit a nerve. He placed the mop down and said calmly, "If it's just sparring, I don't see the harm." Tyler grinned wide. "Fine, why not? Let's give the janitor a round. Someone get him gloves." The crowd erupted with laughter and cheers. Marcus stepped into the ring quietly. Jordan handed him a pair of old gloves. They were faded and cracked, but they fit perfectly. As they faced each other, Tyler raised his hands in mock seriousness. "Don't worry, Marcus. I'll go easy on you." Marcus nodded. "Appreciate that." The bell rang. Tyler started light, throwing playful jabs meant to tease. Marcus dodged everyone. He moved smoothly, eyes focused, calm as ever. Tyler's smirk faded a little. He threw a harder punch. Marcus slipped it effortlessly and tapped him lightly on the ribs. The crowd murmured. Tyler blinked. Lucky shot. He came forward with a flurry of punches, but Marcus's defense was clean. He blocked, sidestepped, and countered with precision. Nothing flashy, just perfect timing. A right cross landed squarely on Tyler's chest. The sound echoed. Tyler staggered back. The crowd gasped. Marcus didn't press. He lowered his gloves slightly and said, "Still want me to mop after this?" Laughter erupted. Not at Marcus this time, but at the coach. Tyler's pride flared. He lunged forward angrily, throwing wild punches. Marcus ducked one, pivoted, and landed a clean jab straight to Tyler's chin. The coach stumbled again. Jordan shouted from the sidelines, "Let him fight, Marcus!" Tyler's face turned red. He charged again, but Marcus caught him, a swift hook followed by a short, tight uppercut. Tyler dropped to one knee, dizzy. The crowd went wild. Marcus stepped back, breathing steady, gloves still up. "That's enough." Tyler waved him off and stood up, embarrassed. "We'll call it practice." But everyone in the gym knew what had just happened. The janitor had outclassed the coach. Marcus stepped out of the ring quietly. He picked up his mop and bucket, ignoring the stunned looks around him. Jordan ran after him. "Man, that was incredible. You showed him who's boss." Marcus smiled faintly. "No, I just reminded him that respect isn't earned by shouting." As he walked away, the gym was silent behind him. For the first time in years, Marcus felt the weight of something lift off his shoulders. He wasn't just a janitor anymore. He was Marcus Reed, the fighter. The next morning, word had already spread. The story of the janitor who dropped the coach traveled faster than Tyler expected. Videos from trainees' phones were circulating around local fight groups. Comments poured in, some laughing, some praising Marcus, others calling Tyler out for being arrogant. When Marcus arrived at the gym that evening, the air felt different. A few fighters nodded respectfully now, even offering to move their bags so he could clean the mats. The same young men who used to laugh now looked at him with quiet admiration. Coach Tyler, however, was nowhere to be seen. His office door stayed shut for hours. When he finally came out, his face was tight and red with frustration. He avoided Marcus at first, but his anger simmered under the surface. When Marcus started mopping near the ring, Tyler walked over. "Enjoy your little show last night?" Tyler asked sharply. Marcus didn't look up. "It wasn't a show, Coach. You said it was sparring." Tyler crossed his arms. "You embarrassed me in front of my students." Marcus stopped mopping and met his eyes. "You embarrassed yourself." "I just defended myself." For a moment, Tyler said nothing. Then he stepped closer, his voice low. "You think that makes you a fighter again? You think cleaning this gym gives you the right to step in my ring?" Marcus's voice stayed calm. "I don't think I have to prove that to anyone." Tyler scoffed and walked off. But everyone in the gym had heard the exchange. Later that evening, Jordan and 2 other trainees found Marcus sitting outside the gym during his break. The night breeze carried the smell of asphalt and sweat. "Coach is mad," Jordan said, sitting beside him. "He's talking about organizing an official exhibition match to show. Who's the real fighter?" Marcus chuckled. "That man doesn't give up, does he?" Jordan smiled. "He's just scared." "But you should do it, Marcus. Everyone wants to see that rematch." Marcus looked thoughtful. "I'm not here to fight anyone. I came here to work, earn, and keep to myself." "Yeah, but maybe this time it's not about proving anything to him," Jordan said quietly. "Maybe it's about reminding yourself who you really are." Marcus leaned back against the wall. The streetlight glowed on his face as he stared into the distance. He didn't answer, but deep inside, Jordan's words struck home. He went back inside after his shift and looked at the cage under the dim lights. The memory of old fights, the crowd's roar, and the feeling of victory all came rushing back. He wasn't looking for revenge, but maybe it was time to stop hiding from the man he used to be. A week later, Tyler officially announced it. An exhibition match, open to members of the gym and local fighters. He framed it as a friendly event for promotion, but everyone knew it was about one thing: his pride. Marcus Reed versus Coach Tyler, the flyer read. A demonstration of skill, respect, and redemption. The crowd buzzed with excitement. Tickets were free, but the stands were full on the night of the event. Local gym owners, amateur fighters, and even a few former pros came to watch. Marcus spent the days leading up to it quietly preparing. He trained late at night, always alone, his focus unshakable. Every jab, every step, every breath was measured. His knee still hurt, but he knew how to work around it. Pain was no stranger to him. It was just another round to survive. Jordan helped him train when he could. He held pads, watched his footwork, and pushed him with encouragement. "You move cleaner than most of the young guys," Jordan said one night. Marcus smiled. "Experience does that. You stop wasting motion." He ate simple meals, slept early, and stretched religiously. His body wasn't 20 anymore, but his spirit was sharper than it had ever been. Meanwhile, Tyler trained loudly, with a crowd, cameras, and ego. He posted clips online of his workouts, captioned with things like "getting ready to humble the janitor." His pride wouldn't let him lose twice. The night before the match, Marcus sat in his small apartment staring at his gloves. They were the same pair he'd used years ago when he thought his career was over. He touched the worn leather gently. He whispered to himself, "This time, it's not about fame. It's about peace." When the day arrived, the gym was packed. Music played, lights dimmed, and the crowd cheered. Marcus walked in wearing a plain black t-shirt and gray shorts. No sponsors, no entourage, just calm focus. Tyler entered in full showmanship. Fancy gear, cheering trainees, cameras flashing. They touched gloves in the center of the cage. The referee explained the rules. 3 rounds, 2 minutes each. Light contact, but clean strikes allowed. As the bell rang, Tyler smirked confidently. Marcus stood still, breathing steady. Tyler opened with fast jabs, testing distance. Marcus blocked each one easily. Then he countered, a quick straight right that caught Tyler off guard. The crowd gasped. Marcus stepped back, letting Tyler recover. His movements were smooth, economical. Tyler came forward again, more aggressive, but Marcus slipped and pivoted with perfect timing, landing a clean body shot. By the end of round 1, the crowd was cheering Marcus's name. The janitor had control. Between rounds, Jordan shouted from the corner, "You're in his head, Marcus! Keep your calm!" Marcus nodded silently. He wasn't fighting for pride. He was fighting for respect, not from others, but for himself. When round 2 began, Tyler charged harder, frustration visible. He threw a wild kick that Marcus blocked easily. Marcus countered with a crisp left hook, followed by a takedown that stunned everyone. The crowd exploded with noise. Tyler hit the mat. Marcus stepped back, letting him up. The respect that had been missing for months was now in every pair of eyes watching. Tyler stood, breathing hard, his arrogance gone. Marcus looked at him and said quietly, "Now you understand." The bell rang again. End of round 2. The match wasn't over yet. But everyone in the gym knew the janitor wasn't just a janitor anymore. He was a fighter reborn. The gym lights burned bright, and the crowd leaned in closer. The air was thick with excitement and disbelief. Nobody had expected the janitor to last this long, and certainly not to dominate. Tyler stood in his corner, breathing heavily, his pride bruised more than his face. He glanced toward the crowd, but the cheers weren't for him anymore. They were chanting one name now, Marcus. Marcus sat calmly on his stool, eyes closed, breathing slow and steady. He wasn't nervous. He wasn't angry. He was focused. Years of silence, struggle, and humility had built a discipline that Tyler's arrogance could never touch. The bell rang. Round 3. The final one. Tyler came forward, swinging wild, desperate to reclaim his pride. Marcus didn't rush. He waited. Every punch Tyler threw met either air or Marcus's gloves. Then Marcus saw his opening. A quick jab, a short cross, a pivot, then a clean uppercut. The hit landed perfectly. Tyler stumbled backward, knees buckling. The crowd gasped in unison. Marcus didn't follow. He stayed calm, measured. The referee moved closer, checking if Tyler could continue. Tyler raised his gloves again, his face red and sweaty. He charged. But Marcus caught him with a counter, a body shot that folded him halfway, then a left hook that sent him to the mat. The gym erupted. Tyler lay on the floor for a few seconds, then rolled over and got up slowly. The referee separated them as the bell rang to end the final round. The match was officially over. The crowd chanted louder now. "Marcus! Marcus! Marcus!" Both men stood in the center as the referee lifted Marcus's arm. He didn't smile, didn't boast. He just nodded and walked away quietly while the cheers echoed through the gym. Tyler, still catching his breath, stared at the man he used to mock. For the first time, he saw Marcus clearly. Not as a janitor, not as someone beneath him, but as a fighter who'd earned every ounce of respect the hard way. After the crowd left, the gym grew quiet again. The floor was scattered with water bottles and towels. Marcus stayed behind, sweeping up just like always. Tyler came out of his office limping slightly. His face was still swollen, but his expression had changed. He walked up to Marcus and stopped. For a few seconds, neither spoke. Finally, Tyler said, "You could have humiliated me worse in there." "You didn't." Marcus kept sweeping. "Didn't need to." Tyler sighed. "Why didn't you tell anyone who you were? I looked you up. You fought in the regional circuits. You were good, real good." Marcus leaned on the broom handle. "That was a long time ago. Life had other plans." Tyler nodded slowly. "You know, I mocked you because I thought you were just another man wasting his potential. Turns out I was the one wasting mine. Teaching kids to punch harder instead of teaching them what it means to fight with heart." Marcus gave a faint smile. "Takes a bigger man to admit that." Tyler looked down for a moment. "I don't say this often, but I'm sorry." Marcus nodded. "Apology accepted." Tyler hesitated, then said, "Listen, I want to make things right. You don't belong on the cleaning staff. You belong in the cage. I want you to train here again, not as janitor, but as a coach. Teach them what you know." Marcus blinked, surprised. "You sure about that?" Tyler smiled weakly. "Yeah, we could both use a second chance." Marcus thought for a moment, then extended his hand. Tyler shook it. For the first time, there was mutual respect. No ego, no pride. Just understanding. Weeks passed. The gym atmosphere had changed completely. The trainees who once laughed now trained under Marcus with deep respect. He was patient, calm, and tough. He didn't yell or show off. He just taught footwork, balance, defense, and most importantly, discipline. Jordan often watched in admiration. "You make it look easy," he said one day. Marcus smiled. "It's not easy. It's controlled." "There's a difference." Coach Tyler stood by, quietly observing. Sometimes he joined in the drills, taking Marcus's advice seriously. The rivalry that once filled the gym had turned into partnership. One evening after class, Marcus sat alone on the ring's edge, looking around at the gym. The punching bag swayed slightly. The floor gleamed under the lights, the same floor he used to mop every night. He thought about how far he'd come, from a broken fighter to a forgotten janitor, from humiliation to respect. Ricky, the old cleaner, walked by and laughed. "Looks like the janitor got promoted, huh?" Marcus chuckled. "Still cleaning up messes, just different ones now." They laughed together, and Ricky patted him on the shoulder before leaving. Marcus looked at the gloves hanging nearby. He didn't need to prove anything anymore. His journey had come full circle. The gym wasn't just a workplace now, it was home. As he turned off the lights and walked out, he whispered softly to himself, "Once a fighter, always a fighter." The night was quiet, and for the first time in years, Marcus Reed felt peace. He didn't need the crowd, the fame, or the cheers. All he needed was the knowledge that he had earned back his dignity, not through pride, but through perseverance. And somewhere deep inside, he knew his fight wasn't over. It had just changed shape.